Hello there, this is Nuka, and I will be showing you how to paint an emperor orc today, for identification purposes only. Now sit back, relax, and grab yourself a paintbrush. Maple Paints has given me a wet palette and brushes, and that is what we'll be using in this video. To start off, we're going to do the underbase for the gold. We're going to use dryad bark, and you're going to base all of your gold in that color. This is the part where I say, trust the process, and your gold is going to turn out just lovely. You're going to get yourself a bright gold, and if you haven't used a dry brush before, that's okay, because neither have I, but I shall guide you to a beautiful gold. You can get that excess paint off with your wet palette, tapping on the outer area. You're then just going to dry brush it or just brush it on all over that gold, really focusing on along all of those edges and the most protruded areas. You even go over some of the areas to make it just that much brighter. You're then going to get yourself a small, fine, pointy brush. And you're focused mostly along those edges and along those little tips corners that are sticking out. You can even add little lines with that gold. Wow, look at that gold shine. We are now going to get ourselves Storm Host Silver. We're going to mix that with 2/3 gold. We're going to mix that all good and up. We're going to focus on all those little areas that we highlighted previously in that gold. And where it hits that gold brightest is where you're going to want to put the silver gold mixture. I really focus along a lot of those edges and along those sharp points where that gold really wants to pop out. I even added little lines to get that non-metallic look, but with metallics. You can even just add little lines throughout, highlight wherever you want to make it really shine. Absolutely stunning, beautiful. Now that's a hammered gold if I ever saw one. Nicely done. Now the Emperor Orc is of course going to have a red cape. You're going to go ahead and get yourself some corn red, and you're going to go over all of the areas that's going to be red. There's actually a funny little story about corn and an orc warband, where he gives them this paradise world where they fight eternally and they can never die. It's quite a funny story. One cannot simply paint an orc without wog. Go ahead, we're going to write little wog right on that little script line. You're now going to base that orc skin in Caliban green. Once you do that, we're going to start our highlights with a very watered down Elysian green. You want to make sure it's all nice and watery and get that excess water off with the side of a paper plate or a sharp edge. You're then just going to highlight the protruding areas that's on your orc skin. You really want to focus along those eyebrows, the nose, those cheekbones, and the jawline. Wow, look at that orc skin really pop out with those little shine. For those of you who like to go the extra mile, you're going to mix about 1/3 Ushabti bone to 2/3 Elysian green. You're going to mix that all good and up. Instead of doing large highlights like we did before, we're going to do little lines along the muscle shape. And we're going to do them in the direction of the muscle. And this is going to make it look like it is 3D. Wow, look at those muscles become 3D. We're gonna do the same thing to the face. We're gonna make those eyebrows just a little bit brighter. Highlight those ends of those cheekbones and that big jawline on that emperor orc. Our orc is not quite done without some gum color. We're gonna mix equal parts Elysium green with Emperor's Children. You'll mix that all good and up. You're then gonna put it all over your gum area. Once you're finished with that, you should be getting something that looks like this. You're now gonna get yourself some ushabti bone. You're gonna paint all of those teeth up in that color. It is now time to dirty up the rest of your mini with some Agrax Earthshade or any brown wash of your choosing. You're going to go ahead and wash all of that red over your entire mini. I also did the entire mouth of the orc, including the inside of the mouth, really focusing along the bottom of the teeth to really make them pop out. Highlight that beautiful red cape. We're going to start off with some Feastin' Red. And with a dry brush, you're just going to stipple it on, get some of that excess off on your wet palette. You're then going to stipple it on in this tapping motion on the most protruded areas of that cape. And this is going to be all those general highlights and some of that early on texture that you want. You're then going to get yourself that small, fine, pointy brush, and you're just going to use the side and highlight all of those little sharp edges to really make it pop out. You're then going to do little scratches throughout the entire cape. And you're just going to do a little X motion far away and slowly move in to get all those nice little scratches. We're not done yet. We're going to go ahead and mix about 1/3 ushabti bone to 2/3 Feastin' Red. You're going to mix that all good and up. And what are you going to do with that? More scratches. You want to add lots of little scratches throughout your entire cape. Even focusing more on those protruding areas with what? Scratches. You're then going to get the side of your brush and you're going to highlight those edges just that much more to make it look all nice and crisp. To really finish off that cape, we're going to get ourselves some black paint like Abaddon Black. And we're just going to dry brush the entire bottom of that cape until it gets this dark, nice, gradual black line on there. To finish it off, I like to get a little paintbrush and really make those edges pure black. My go-to favorite for metal scratches is no other than Stormhost Silver. I just like to tap it along some edges and add little light scratches to really make it look weathered. For the eyes, I originally did it in a pure white. Now, I got myself Primary Yellow by AK Interactive Ink. And you're just going to want to put it over the entire eye. I know the camera's a little blurry here, but that's just going to be alright. I then got a dry brush and just brush over it to get some of that excess yellow off. You can even just tap it along the other area of the eye to make it look like it's got a nice glowing yellow. They also have a really nice red ink if you want red eyes for your orc.
Wow, we had a legendary guest today, Nuka Ross. Now, there is no excuse for you identifying an Emperor Orc on the battlefield. Good luck, guardsmen. Also, remember, it is heresy not to like and subscribe to this video. And I also have plans to make a VODs channel, and this will just be a backup channel of the main channel. I have an idea where it's just gonna be hours of gameplay, hours of painting minis, Gundam, whatever I'm recording that I don't actually upload on the main channel. I'll just upload minimally edited VODs. Do you guys like Dark Nuka Kitten for the name? Or Nuka Kitten Uncensored? I already have both names saved. And that is it.